The point guard position in the NBA has been on the rise since around 2010 and has become one of the most valuable positions in the league. With the influx in talent being at an all-time high because of how valuable it's become, I decided to break the point guards in the NBA down into tiers. I know a lot of you guys won't agree with this list, and I understand that completely. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, as well as opinions on other people's opinions. But I wanted to give you guys an idea of where I stand on the point guard talent in the NBA. Also, if I don't include a player here, that probably means I view them as a different position. So guys like Devin Booker and Kyrie Irving, I have classified as two guards. With Booker in particular, and also Kyrie to an extent, this is also just me trying to leave them open if I decide to make this type of video about two guards, because if I don't include those two in the two guard list, it's going to be pretty dry. So that's why I didn't include them there. But quickly before we go any further, if you're new and like basketball, I'd really appreciate it if you would like to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the two best ways that can help me out in the YouTube algorithm, help support the channel, and help me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Anyways, let's talk about these point guards. 2-1 for me are players I view as top 10 overall players in the league, and there are only 3 point guards that I have in this tier. Those 3 are Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, and gilgeous-alexander. Now, Luka is averaging around 31 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists on a 62 true shooting percentage. He's having the best 3-point shooting season of his career. Never been a bad shooter, but hasn't been the most efficient. Kind of in that Harden mold because of the difficult shots they take. But the fact that he's in the high 30s on really good volume is something that has been massive for him and has contributed to probably his best season to date as of right now. He's a legit MVP candidate, definitely in my top 3. Steph Curry is having arguably the best 3-point shooting season of his career, which says something because he's Steph Curry. He's carrying a Warriors offense that's been underwhelming outside of him, and in my opinion, he would be an MVP favorite if the team record was better. And gilgeous-alexander is having another historically great scoring season in terms of production and efficiency. The numbers he's putting up right now are on pace to be numbers that only Steph Curry and Kevin Durant have put up. He's been the best player on an OKC team that I think could be one of the 3 best in the Western Conference. And as of right now, he's actually second behind Jokic in the MVP race, in my opinion. 2 are point guards that I view as legit all-star to all NBA caliber players. And this is a much bigger group than 2-1. And I want to be very clear, don't get mad at the order these guys are in. This is not a ranking, this is just the way I listed it, so don't take like I'm saying one's better than the other. They all are in the same tier for a reason. But this tier includes De'Aaron Fox, Damian Lillard, John Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, and Darius Garland. Let's start with De'Aaron Fox. He's been one of the most valuable players in the entire NBA. The Kings have been one of the 2 or 3 best offenses in basketball when he's on the court. They've been one of the bottom 3 offenses when he's off the court. It was very clear when he was out with injury that he was their best player and their most valuable player, because without him, they looked awful. And he's also having the best scoring season of his career, averaging around 30 points per game on pretty good efficiency. And it's just a monster rim pressure threat, one of the best athletes, the fastest player in the league, pretty good playmaker, and again, just an elite scorer that shows up when it matters most. Damian Lillard has been a bit underwhelming for his standard to start this season, but he still had some pretty good games, I would say. And he's had moments where he's looked like the guy he was last season. and I've noticed some pop on tape as a playmaker. The assist numbers are around the same for his career, but it's more noticeable that he's utilizing driving kicks and things like that. I know Ja Morant's suspended right now, but the fact that without him, the Grizzlies have been one of the worst teams in the NBA says something. When he plays, he's one of the best playmakers and rim pressure threats in basketball. And also, I think the fact that he's historically a playoff riser really says something. Tyrese Halliburton has been the engine of the best offense in basketball. His improvement as a shot creator and manipulator have made him an MVP caliber guy. Need some real defenders outside of Bruce Brown and Miles Turner around him. I'm begging the Pacers, please play Jarris Walker. Jalen Brunson has been really efficient despite being one of the worst finishers in the NBA because he's just been that elite of a mid-range and three-point shooter. Best player on a competitive Knicks team. LaMelo Ball had a really slow start to the season, but he was incredible after around his first 5 games, and since then, he looked like the guy that I am very high on. Did get injured, will miss some time, but was playing at an elite level prior to the injury. One of the best playmakers in the NBA. One of the best pass manipulators and overall manipulators in the NBA. Underrated three-point shooter with more on-off-ball versatility than given credit for. And his improvements as a finisher make me wonder if he can potentially reach an MVP caliber of play. Trae Young has been underwhelming to start this season. There's no way around it, the efficiency hasn't been good. He's still averaging 27 points per game and 10 assists per game on a Hawks team that looks competitive. One of the best scorers and playmakers in the NBA, and I do think he'll start to pick up his play eventually. Tyrese Maxey is taking another leap. His leap as a scorer has been consistent each season, and he's just a high-level efficient scorer that's been growing as a playmaker and has really developed into a legit high-end second option caliber guy that could be that player on a contender. Jamal Murray has dealt with injuries, which has led to a slow start. Still the second half of the best two-man game in the NBA on a team that's the title favorites when everyone's healthy. One of the best three-point shooters and on-off ball scorers in the NBA, and is averaging a career high in assists. And Darius Garland had a slow start to the season. He's still not shooting the three ball at the level that he usually does, but overall he's still relatively efficient. One of the best playmakers in the world, even if the assists per game aren't that high, just based off his responsibility as a lead playmaker and the fact the Cavs offense is noticeably better on tape when he's on the court compared to when he isn't. Tier 3 is a group of players that's a bit smaller, actually a lot smaller than Tier 2. These are guys that I view as fringe all-star to high-end starter caliber players. This tier includes Drew Holiday, DeJounte Murray, James Harden, Fred VanVleet. And I want to start with Drew Holiday because he's a volatile offensive player with wild shot selection, but still one of the best defensive players in the NBA. And in my opinion is the key to Boston potentially winning a title this season. DeJounte Murray quietly is having the best season of his NBA career. This has been his best three-point shooting season as well. High 30s on pretty good volume. And just a well-rounded player on both ends of the floor. Puts up good all-around numbers. Maybe not a lead playmaker, but definitely a pretty good one and a pretty good defensive player. James Harden is having his worst season since prior to being traded to Houston. But he's still a pretty good playmaker and creator, and is also having by far the best three-point shooting season of his career. And Fred VanVleet may not be the most efficient from the field, but he's been super efficient as a passer. Incredible assist to turnover ratio, still a pretty good creator and shooter, and one of the biggest reasons the Rockets have been really competitive this season. Tier 4 is an interesting group because I don't know how to really classify it because there are many types of players in this group with differing thoughts in terms of how I view them. but I kind of view them all as the same caliber player if they all were in the same situation. And these are just guys that I think are either really young and are solid but have upside, or they're reliable veterans. And that group includes Cade Cunningham, Chris Paul, Marcus Smart, Kyle Lowry, Markelle Fultz, Russell Westbrook, Reggie Jackson, Mike Conley, D'Angelo Russell, and Kobe White. Let's start with Cade Cunningham. Still has some noticeable flaws that I think some people are trying to ignore just because of the situation, but those flaws are noticeable, like the finishing, the turnovers, and the handle being a bit loose, even if I don't think he has a bad handle. But over his last 5 games, he's averaging 25 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists on 46, 43, 95 splits. Very polarizing player just based off his draft selection, the expectations coming into the league, and his play up to this point. But he's shown enough for me to believe he's in this tier right now, and if he keeps up what he's done over his last 5 games for the rest of the season, he's going up a tier or 2. Chris Paul has seen major regression as a scorer, below 10 points per game, below 40% from the field, but he's still an elite playmaker in terms of his passing ability, and that's helped with young guys like Moody and Kuminga, and I think that's very valuable for someone who's coming off the bench. Marcus Smart is currently out with injury. He's looked good, in my opinion, when he's played. You can't expect him to carry this Memphis offense. That's not the type of player he is. I think if he was still in Boston, he would be viewed a lot more highly than what he's with Memphis now, because Memphis has been really bad. And he's also just suffering probably mentally from the first losing situation of his basketball career. Kyle Lowry is not the All-NBA guy he once was. I know Heat fans aren't as high on him because of the contract and the trade and the fact that he hasn't been that All-Star, the All-NBA guy that they probably expected. But he is really old. He's a lot closer in age to LeBron than people think. Likely more of a 6-man bench player now, but he's been a reliable 3-point shooter, and his overall efficiency was better than I thought it would be. Markelle Fultz is likely the odd man out in Orlando with the emergence of Anthony Black and Jalen Suggs. Still a good rim pressure, threat, and passer. I think if the Magic trade him, they could get something back in return. Just a very easy player to root for, in my opinion. Russell Westbrook has his ups and downs, and those ups and downs have become more noticeable with the decrease in his role over the years. Still brings an impact as a great athlete and energy guy. I think he's underrated as a passer right now, and also historically, also a very easy guy to root for. Reggie Jackson has filled Jamal Murray's shoes well when Jamal Murray went out with injury. He's had a bit of a resurgence, wasn't a rotation player on their title team last season, but looks like at least a quality backup point guard right now. We all saw the Clippers game, and it looks like he's going to be a real contributor on Denver's quest to go back-to-back. Mike Conley isn't what he once was in Memphis, where I believe he was an all-star caliber player that just happened to play in the conference where it was the most loaded group of guards we've seen in recent memory. Still a reliable floor general and a really good presence for a young Minnesota team on the rise. D'Angelo Russell is a tricky player for me to rank. He definitely has his ups and downs, but I put him in this tier because I know that his lows are really bad and really noticeable. But I also think he's too good to be in the tier I have below this. And Kobe White has quietly been pretty good this season. I know the Bulls have been a disaster for many reasons, but I think that his play is going under the radar. He's been pretty efficient, averaging a career high in points. Best season of his career so far. High energy scorer that's still pretty young. And I think that the Bulls should keep him long term as of right now, or if they trade him, they get something back in return. So I do think there are teams that would like to have a Kobe White on their roster. And tier 5 is high upside prospects, guys that I think will be in tiers much higher than this as the years go on, but right now they have their ups and downs. They haven't really shown a lot yet, but I still really am high on these players. This tier includes Scoot Henderson, Amen Thompson, Keontae George, Anthony Black, and Dyson Daniels. Let's start with Scoot Henderson. Definitely been underwhelming to start this season. This is a guy that I viewed as one of the most NBA-ready point guard prospects ever. He has dealt with injuries, and he has had a slow start, but recently he's starting to pick it up. Recently had a career-high 17 points, and really since post-injury, he's had a decent amount of games where he's shown promise as a three-point shooter, which was a major question mark with him. I think as the season goes along, he's going to get better and look a lot closer to that guy that many, including myself, viewed as the clear-cut second-best prospect in the 2023 draft. And I wouldn't be shocked if I do this again later on in the season. He's in tier 4. Amen Thompson has been out with injury. Still a raw scorer, but also has the rare athleticism and intangibles as a playmaker that make him one of the highest ceiling players in the league, regardless of position. Keontae George has shown way more promise as a playmaker than expected. Also has the scoring intangibles and physicality, which gives him upside as an all-around monster, and I think he could be one of the most complete guards in the NBA one day. Even if the efficiency shows he's had his ups and downs, that's common for young scoring guards, and I think the playmaking has made up for that. Anthony Black has been really good when given opportunity. The Magic's record when he plays versus when he doesn't has been really telling, not in the sense of he's the most valuable player, but I think long term it's very clear that he's their point guard and fits well with Paulo and Franz and should be their long term starter at the 1 moving forward. And Dyson Daniels has been pretty good. His minutes haven't been the most consistent because the Pelicans have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA, but he's a great defensive player, great physical and athletic tools combined with motor and feel. Raw scorer, but really good connecting passer. Let's give a quick overview of everything. Tier 1, Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry, gilgeous-alexander. Tier 2, De'Aaron Fox, Damian Lillard, Ja Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, Jalen Brunson, LaMelo Ball, Trae Young, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, and Darius Garland. Tier 3, Drew Holiday, DeJounte Murray, James Harden, and Fred VanVleet. Tier 4, Cade Cunningham, Chris Paul, Marcus Smart, Kyle Lowry, Markelle Fultz, Russell Westbrook, Reggie Jackson, Mike Conley, D'Angelo Russell, and Kobe White. In Tier 5, I have Scoot Henderson, Amen Thompson, Keontae George, Anthony Black, and Dyson Daniels. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways can help me out in the YouTube algorithm, help support the channel, and I'll be reaching my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of the season. Let's try and get 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. Let me know who you think the best point guards in the NBA are in the comment section below. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.